Of course, we all want peace, and we all know where the answer is. That is Putin, who doesn't want peace. He wants you to be subjugated, and he wants European security to be destroyed. So it is for us to continue to do what we are doing right now.
Lithuania, since the full-scale invasion, has had one of the most clear, I think, voices in this conflict in the European community about what needs to be done to support Ukraine. How does Lithuania see the events of the last month or two? And do you think there is any chance for a ceasefire at the moment?
We know that everything depends on Russia's decisions and on US instruments being used for them to make the right decisions, for Russia to make the right decisions. We haven't seen in history that Russia, without the exact pressure, would agree on anything, and that they would step back from the demands that were initially put on the table. And we saw the Russian demands back in 21, or even before that, when the war started in 2014. So I have no reason to believe that it will change, that they will change their demand, except if US uses their instruments. Diplomatic ones that we've already seen, and then also the hard instruments and hard pressure against Russia. So we will see how it will work. I do not exclude the element of surprise for us all, that Russia will surprise us with something nice. But if it will happen as we already seen in many cases before, so they will just play the time and play the other sides and just try to push it further and increase the demands and intensify the activities in the battlefield. That's what we've seen previously. So in purpose to cut this trend, in purpose to stop this scenario, we have to show and introduce the hard measures sooner than later. We have to use deadlines in this process, just not to allow to play with us till summer than afterwards. And we have to be very serious about our commitment for the future of Ukraine, to show that Ukraine will be in our not only radar but in our efforts to achieve security in Europe for the long time, as it is in Lithuania's position. We committed for 10 years to support you. We committed to assist you in the accession to the EU process, as we already did, and politically support you and economically support you, because this is also in our interest. This is not only generosity, this is in our interest, because this is how we see geopolitical future of Europe. Whether it changed, yes, now we are pressed in time and we are pressed in the demand, and it is needed more from Europe to do now, because we cannot rely, as US administration is showing us, so much on American capabilities. And so we have to move forward with a bit different pace and different planning.
You mentioned the need and the hope for some kind of hard pressure from the US here to make Russia stop, which is required for peace. But in several months of negotiation, we haven't seen that. Do you think Lithuania and the European community as a whole are still holding out for that to change?
US has sanctions in position towards Russia, working sanctions. EU has also sanctions that are in place. 16 packages of sanctions are in place, and we're ready to introduce the new ones. It shows that we have instruments that are working. Russians want them out. Russians want to be sanctions relieved. It's the argument and the proof that they're effective and that they're working. And we have the other sectors that are not sanctioned yet. We can expand it to LNG, and we have to. And this is also the nuclear energy, and this is also the financial institutions that are still connected to SWIFT. We have the instruments and we can use it. Whether we will or not, of course, it depends on many sides. But EU, European, separate nations, they have the agency here. They have the right to say, and we have also the instruments to influence the process. So we are not just sitting aside and watching what's happening and wondering.
Now, you mentioned back in January that you saw a European presence inside Ukraine as a key pillar of a sustainable peace. And since then, the discussions have moved a lot further forward and they've come out into the open. We're now talking about a coalition of the willing. Of course, Lithuania has its own security issues to worry about, but in terms of that presence inside Ukraine, how would you like to see that look?
We are ready to contribute, and this will be part of our contribution to a long-lasting peace, and that will be part of our security guarantees for Ukraine, next to EU membership assistance, next to the financial and military assistance, to be present here for the assistance for Ukraine armed forces, as we see it as the effective tool to deter Russians in the future. Of course, the very modalities and how this design will look like depend on further operational planning and on the needs of Ukraine, but now we are talking different dimensions. We're talking naval, air, and in the ground one, and of course we talk about different forms of backstopping and support from other nations, US included. So let's see where it will develop, but I see it as the strong additional also instrument and foundation for Ukraine in the future.
From inside Ukraine, it seems that there's this key paradox, because it's talking about reassurance, backstop, enforcing a ceasefire, but is there planning to what can be done if that ceasefire never comes?
We have to work for it. We understand that these negotiations for the ceasefire is only one of the phases. There are other phases, and we will be able to assess overall process only having the very final agreement, what it looks like. And the very criteria for this assessment will be whether we believe that it is a long-lasting for Ukraine. And of course it depends on Ukraine in the future, what the steps and what the commitment will be there to continue defending yourself. And we are ready to assist in doing this. Of course we all want peace, and we all know where the answer is. That is Putin, who doesn't want peace. He wants you to be subjugated, and he wants European security to be destroyed. So it is for us to continue to do what we are doing right now, and it's the right thing to do.
Thank you for watching. We are able to publish videos like this for free thanks to the support of people around the world, people like you. Consider joining our community and help us keep going. Become a member of the Kyiv Independent for just $5 a month. Thank you.